How's everybody doing today?
Woo!
Got the cameras on. There we go. Okay. Like I looked at the group shot and saw nobody. It's like, that's not good. There we go. I don't know how you guys end up in my living room every single time. Just gotta check the locks on those doors. Just not working. I appreciate you coming, all one of you. But we'll take it. Any last we can get. This is our 69th version of our quarantine comedy. We started this during the quarantine. We understand that it's technically over, but we're still gonna call it that. We have some excellent comics that have been on the quarantine comedy shows in the past. I'm glad that they are here. All right, sorry about that. Went to a screen and muted my own microphone. Technology, it's a wonderful thing. Been telling people for years that I'm from Asheville, and technically I'm from Canton. Canton's a little west, and it's kind of known for its paper mill. What that means is if you want to find Canton, just go to Asheville and drive west till you smell it. Generally about a half hour before you get there, depending on the wind direction. But just to give you an idea of what that is actually like, there was a pastor talking to his congregation, trying to deal with the how bad it is in hell. It's so it's humid and the brimstone is boiling and it's a disgusting smell. It's like the smell of pulping paper. Okay, I live in hell. Suppose that. I am self-employed. What that means is I have a jerk for a boss who keeps trying to sleep with my girlfriends. I complain to HR, but I am HR and I don't give a shit. I'm getting older and I'm not at the level of a prepubescent girl. I'm just waiting for the tits. Any day now. Any day. And for me, dick pics are really different. When I was younger, it was just an overcoat. And I do believe voodoo is real because somebody's got that doll of me and they keep poking it every morning, my back, my neck, my foot. If I find them, I'm going to stab them to death. But I really can tell about my age. I'm getting shit from AARP. I'm not talking a normal junk mail. I'm talking full color Cialis like ads. Thanks, guys, so much. And then the hearing aid company. I can't hear and I can't get it up. And of course, senior living. So I'm feeble too. More recently, a crematorium. You know, I'm not old enough that I need to wear Depends. I'm just lazy. A few new jokes in. So I'm driving by this gun shop. They have a big sign, Knife World. But they're kind of perpetuating that whole stereotype. Why would you bring a knife to a gunfight? Then I realized it's a marketing tactic. They sell the knives. The guys with the guns shoot the people with the knives. They come in to get more ammo and they can sell the used knife. I hear a lot of people, especially comedy when you get a heckler here, so they say, "Shut the fuck up." Mm-hmm. Why would anybody want to shut the fuck up? I mean, you want to hear those. They're noisy. Yeah, I mean they're noisy as shit. Well, I mean, not shit, because shit's quiet. Well, unless you're in trouble, you really don't want a noisy shit. You want a quiet shit. So it should be shut the shit up. Makes much more sense. So driving by this church and they have a sign that says 2023, be with Jesus. Are they wishing death on me? They're awfully passive aggressive. So I got stopped by a cop once, and they always make that stupid saying. It's like, do you know why I stopped you? I mean, if you don't know, why did you stop me? If I get it right, do I get to go home? That's like saying, do you know why I killed you? Hey, I'm talking to you. I did get stopped the other day. I was driving home and there was a dead animal road, so I kind of swerved around it. Lights go on, oh shit, they think I'm drunk. I doubt they saw the dead animal. So he stops me and I kind of preempt the question. I said, well, you okay to do for you, officer? He says, your headlight's out. I had just gotten a new bulb in my headlight like 3 days earlier. It was the other bulb. So I tell him, and he says, well, where are you coming from? I said, I was doing comedy. He says, are you a comedian? I said, yeah. So you known for that? I said, God, no. So, of course, what did he say? Tell me a joke. Brings his partner over, and I'm going to tell you the joke I always tell him. I always tell people to ask him. I said, my girlfriend tells me she wants a fairy tale relationship. I'm not sure what she means till I come home and find 7 short guys in the bedroom. Made a lot more sense. And he did let me go. He didn't even ask for my driver's license. Guess that worked. So, has it taken gas station boner pills?
No.
I mean, isn't it the worst place to have a boner? Why would you want a boner? I mean, granted, prison boner pills might be worse. Someone told me, just got to take it one step at a time. Yeah, because if you take no steps, you're not going anywhere. And if you take 2 steps, all that hopping. So, which is better? Creamy peanut butter or chunky peanut butter?
Chunky.
Chunky, you can leave. You just leave.
I really like chunky too.
Okay, mashed potatoes. Creamy or chunky?
Chunky.
I mean, if they're homemade.
You guys are just lazy. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to mash these potatoes anymore. I don't want to mix it. I'm just going to leave them chunky and say I like it that way. Lazy motherfucker.
I like it that way.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So I like playing volleyball. I'm finally getting back to volleyball. And I'm not the greatest volleyball player, but I'm very committed. My daughter once watched me play and she said, somebody dived for the ball like kind of horizontally, hung in the air, and then fell. She said it was like a scene on a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. So what that means is I leave some DNA on the court. Okay. So if I ever decide to kill somebody, that's what it's going to be on the volleyball court. Police are going to come up and say, Mr. Wagner, we found some your DNA on the court. I understand, saliva, hair, blood. No, so we found some semen. I did say I love volleyball. All right, that is my time. Our next comedian, I met her during the pandemic. And her claim to fame is why she's on tonight's show. Because tonight's show is volume 69. Say no more, you will find out why. It's better applause.
Yes. Oh, hello, everyone. Hello. Hello, Gio. And then Gio's other screen. Josh, hello. And Megan, hello. I watched that show, the She-Hulk. It was incredible and empowering, and she was very sexy and very strong. Just to get things started, my name's Brooke. My pronouns are her and sheesh. Thank you. I like hobbies. I don't know if you guys like hobbies. I like having a lot of hobbies. I try a lot of things, sometimes once or twice, sometimes more than that. I used to do bowling. I was on a bowling league for a while, but then there was a strike. So then there was no more bowling. I collected those miniatures, like they had like a little chair, a little bear, a little house, all those little miniature things. I did that for a while, but I grew out of it. It's a miniature joke because they're small. And I grew out. It's the best jokes are the ones that you have to explain. I also did macrame. I don't know if you've heard of macrame, when I tie all the knots and then make booby traps for my feet. That's macrame. Dangerous hobbies I take on. I also like traveling. Traveling's an adventure. It's a good time. Go to lots of different toilets, which can be fun. It can be fun. This was somewhere between Indiana and Nebraska. There was this like epic gas station that had bidets, at every little like bathtub booth or whatever they do. So I had never bideted before. I think Josh has definitely bideted. Gio's probably bideted. Jenny, have you bideted?
I have not.
Okay, so I have not either. And I didn't know, I'm a lady, I didn't feel like a truck stop would be the proper place to have a first, I think I might enjoy it a lot. I don't know. There was all these like a whole scale of 1 to 69, it's gonna be a whole downstairs waterworks situation. So I didn't oblige. But I'm going to share a few more things that happened. I went on a lot of road trips last year and I have really high expectations. So I expect things to be a certain way. And then a lot of times they're not. So I went all the way to the Finger Lakes. I don't know if you've ever been to Finger Lakes before. They're more like this. I actually stayed at the tip of the longest finger. And I sat there at the tip for like 3 hours. Okay. And I didn't get finger blasted once. Anywho, so then I Googled how they have like the trail app where you can find the trails around you. And there was one called Lick Brook. Lick Brook. My name is Brooke. And I got very excited. Maybe had my hopes up a bit too high again, because I was gonna baptize my clit in the water. I was really excited for this hike, but the river was super dry, so that's a true story. And then this is also interesting because they're currently making this super highway. They as in the United States of America, and the goal is to have it from border to border. So like top to bottom, or I think how the kids call it these days, like front to back, right? Yeah, they wanted to start up at Minnesota and end down somewhere by Texas. Okay. Woo. Pretty exciting. The coolest part about it is that it's gonna be called Interstate 69. I'm not making this up. This is true. This is like hot off the press. And the thing is not all the states, look at it the same way, as you could imagine. When you bring up 69, some people are like, oh, that's fun and silly. And other people are like, what a waste of my time. Well, it's similar with this highway, you see. So people in Michigan, they're like, we know what to do. We've got all these lakes and stuff. We'll just throw the 69. Yes, interstate right down the middle. They got it done already, right? Cool. Some states, they have better things to do. So sadly, they're not fully on board to make this happen. Indiana, in fact, is putting their foot down because the environmentalists are upset because apparently it's going to go right through the wetlands, which is kind of the point. If they're gonna name it Highway 69, there's gonna be some wetlands going on. It's just part of the territory. Anywho, so that's exciting news in international travels. So I hope that when it's finished, hopefully by the time I'm 69, it will be finished. You can drive on it, set your cruise control at 69. If you have one of those cars, you can make your temperature also at 69, and you create this vortex in the space-time continuum, and you can actually summon the 69 fairy on your own. This is usually like a Mason level kind of like knowledge. I'm not supposed to share it with just regular people, but I figure, this is Zoom. This is the best time to like let out these truths so you can like, live your best life, be careful. You might orgasm, you might wreck the car. It's dangerous, but it's also fun. It's a good party story, and you'll be like, wow, like halfway through the accident, you'll be thinking of me, it'll be really cool. So I hold you to it. I'm going to do it whenever they finish that highway. I guess I'm going to tell you some jokes now. That's enough of just facts. That's just facts. I'll move on to some jokes. I'm a substitute teacher, so I see a lot of the world. I see what you guys are putting out there, the children you are creating. A lot of times it's fun. A lot of times it's a good time. I enjoy it. Sometimes it's a lot, and I don't want to ever go back to that school. But with being a sub, I cannot if I don't want to, which is nice. Like, I don't have to go to teacher meetings. I don't have to like go sit and eat with the teachers. Like, I don't have to like, oh, it's so nice. So nice. Yeah. So, let's see. There's some things that I do to like make myself cool. Like, obviously I'm already cool. You can tell right through the screen, but like, I'll use the hip songs to get the kids to do what I want them to do. Like, obviously the little kids, it's like head, shoulders, knees, and toes, pick up your stuff, but as they get older, you have to get more creative. And I'm usually with middle schools. So it's like, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. It's like the naughty kid, I call him out. Or, please keep your hands to yourself. I'm not sure if you guys speak Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez. I'm not sure if you guys are the targeted demographic for these references. The kids got it, which is all that matters. Another one is like, sit down, bitch. Be humble. Yeah, there you go. I'll use that on them. That's fun. Or sometimes I'll forget, like, I'm a comedian, but I'm also a teacher, right? So I have to like assess like which Brooke am I gonna be. And this girl was playing with her computer, but her computer clearly had died. It lost all power to function, right? And she's still playing with it. And I was like, hey, stop being a Dahmer. And she's like, Miss Barcel. And I was like, you're right. But that was a good one, right? Like, it's fun. It's like half the time I'm trying to figure out, like, am I the pervert? Which maybe, but are they the perverts, right? Because they're middle schoolers. So I brought this thing, the Secret Kindness Agents. I don't know if you've heard of the Secret Kindness Agents, but you get to pick out like your secret kindness name. So I let all the kids pick their names. Like, there's Agent Pickles, Agent Snow Bunny, right? And then this boy wants to be Agent Squirter. And I'm like, why? Like, why do you choose Squirter? Like, why? I just don't know if I'm a pervert because squirting's awesome, right? Or if he's an 8th grade boy that shouldn't have told his teacher that. Half the day just trying to figure that out. Silliest boy I ever taught, maybe. There's a lot of them. But I was reading this story and he shoots his hand up and he goes, girls pee out of their butts. Like, completely like out of the blue. I was like, okay, it's usually just diarrhea, nothing to worry about, And he doubles down and he goes, no, girls don't have a pee-pee. And that's when I stopped. I'm like, whoa, like, here I am. I'm a teacher. My job is to teach and to educate these children. And this boy thinks that all we have is a butthole. I really just started to push the school district to put cliteracy back into the curriculum. I I feel it's important, and I don't want this boy to find out on his wedding day, that there's a secret garden down there, he'll try to finger blast it, and won't be able to. So, well, he will, he just won't know how. It's just going to be hard for those kids. I don't know if any of you went to Catholic schools. The kids are screaming out. They are just screaming out. Let's see. Well, we are having fun. Gio, do you want me to tell more jokes, or is that good for tonight?
Up to you. You want to do more?
Let's see. I'll do a little bit more. I'll tell you one story about a preschool boy that I learned about his fetish, and then that sounded weird. Let me just tell you what happened. So I'm teaching, and I feel like your fetish like finds you, right? You can't really like explain it when it happens. And I don't think this kid realized what happened, but I knew, I could see it. So he was playing with Mr. Potato Head. I don't know if you're familiar, potato plastic, all these pieces, right? You make faces, and you have the hat and the stash and the nose, all those parts. Well, he was playing with it differently. He was mostly focusing on putting all the parts back in the butthole of the potato head. He just did that the whole time, and then laughed and shook it and put it back out. So that kid's gonna turn out interesting. Very interesting. Okay, that went well. I think, are any of you in relationships here in the crowd? Josh, I don't think you are. I think you're pretty much a single star. You a single star?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a single star too. But we know like other people have relationships, right? They have long-term relationships where they both love each other long times. You've heard of those, right? You probably also heard of the term the 7-year itch. Have you heard of that? Like when they're together for like 7 years and then they want to start cheating on each other, that 7-year itch. Well, I struggle with relationships, but I can relate to the 7-year itch because of my eczema. Yep. Very fun. Not fun. It's the worst. But I was drinking these green drinks every single day, hoping that would take my eczema away. Turns out the Shamrock shake does nothing for eczema. So I'm allergic to a lot of things. Recently found out I'm allergic to nuts and mushrooms. Can't even have the tip. So that's fun. Basically, my doctor's making me be a lesbian, which I think might be fine. I think I might be okay with that. I think that's probably a great place to end. Yeah.
Sure.
Leave me lingering somewhere around that. It's been great. It's been a really fun time. I enjoy Gio very much, and the button downs. He's always in a button up, and this is when he buttons down. So we're all really privileged to get to be here together tonight. I'm excited for you, Josh. We're gonna have a good time. Thank you.
Woo!
Now, Brooke, I have a question about that. The poor kid who thinks that the women pee out of their butthole. What happens if he finds a girl that doesn't do anal? Poor
Yeah,
kid. No options.
no options. Maybe titties.
Maybe. So Debbie said she was going to be popping in here, but I haven't seen her yet. So we'll have her. She comes in. We'll just have her do something after Josh. So our next comedian, Josh, you in Chicago now?
I'm in Chicago. Yes. Sorry, I didn't send you a bio, but
No. I just
I
know.
know Jenny on here knows my bio, and so I could just message Megan later and tell her about me.
Well, actually, Megan's been in enough of these. She may have seen you last time.
Oh,
So-
okay. All right.
I also met Josh during the pandemic doing the Zoom comedies, but I've also met Josh in person in Las Vegas at the Series of Comedy, which hopefully I'll see him again this year. Please, big round of applause, Josh DiDonato.
Josh
Thank
B.
you so much. Thank you so much, Gio. Yes, it's good to be back on Zoom comedy. I don't know. It's always I learned a lot during the Zoom comedy era. You know, it's definitely different than regular stand-up. I don't know. This is what I picked up after doing, I would say, hundreds of Zoom comedy shows. The difference between bombing in a Zoom comedy show and bombing in a in-person comedy show is almost indistinguishable. Oh no, I said that wrong. I said that totally wrong. It's been months since I said that joke. No, the difference between bombing in the Zoom comedy show and killing in a Zoom comedy show is almost indistinguishable. Okay. I have no idea how I'm doing. Wow, I blew my first joke.
It doesn't comedy.
I'm sorry, what?
It doesn't matter. Zoom comedy. You just said something.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, it's exactly. How would I know the difference? Anyway, all right. You know, it's interesting. It's fun being on a bill with Brooke. Brooke has a lot of sex thoughts. I don't know if she has a lot of sex. She has a lot of thoughts of sex and sex talk. I don't know. She didn't mention this one thing that a lot of comedians talk about incessantly. I'm not real interested in pornography. There, I said it. Yeah, it's just not my thing. But there is a new category of porn that seems intriguing to me. What it is they have men and women and men and men and women and women, but all the people having sex in these videos just became American citizens that day. It's called Barely Legal. And I guess that's like a fetish for some people, you know, that fresh new Americanness is a turn on. We've all got pet peeves. I'll tell you one of mine is when people don't know what a pet peeve is. No, you talk to some people and they'll say, you know what my pet peeve is? Racism. And it's like, no, a pet peeve is something that just bugs you and not for a good reason. It cannot be something that is universally agreed to be a terrible thing. You know what my pet peeve is? Cold-blooded murder. When I'm in Starbucks and someone just like stabs the person in front of me to death, it's like, really? Can't you go outside? You're being so annoying. You just literally got blood on my phone. Yeah, I figured out that all of my pet peeves are verbal. I really kind of don't care what people do, it turns out. It's just the stuff that people say that drives me crazy. Like, you know, when people say it goes without saying, you don't really need to say that ever. I was hanging out with my best friend and he said, well, it's 10:30. It goes without saying we should probably get some dinner. Well, yeah, it could have gone without saying, but then you said it. So no, it's going with saying. I think if you find yourself saying it goes without saying a lot, you should probably just go without saying anything to me for a while. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so into words. I just love words so much, you know? Just like, I don't know, there's just so many great words. You know what I mean? I mean, I could fill an hour with just saying great, you know, just so many great, filibuster. Just fun to say, you know, jacuzzi, squalor, just so many great words. And I don't know, just love words so much. Yeah. Sometimes I wish I could fuck words. You know, I mean, just hard, but you know, I don't know how I would do it, but just, you know, if you just, I don't know. It's squalor. It's just a sexy word, you know? I mean, maybe I could figure out a way to do it. Maybe go to a craft store and get some foam lettering, you know? And like, you know, stick my dick in the queue. Which is actually also a slang term for having sex with a conspiracy theorist. But, you know, or if you're feeling adventurous, put it in the A, you know. Anyway, I don't know. And it's my love of words is like, I'm so into words, and I know that people don't care about words that much. And that's where I start to just like get upset at the world, you know. I feel like a lot of people think about words in the same way that I think of cars, you know, because like, you know, I drive a car, driven a car hundreds of times, thousands. I own a car, use a car every day, but I don't know how cars work. You know what I mean? I don't. I just like, if something happens, you know, and my car isn't working, I just have to, you know, have a couple of grand ready. You know what I mean? Because like, if I bring my car into a mechanic, I have no way of knowing if what they're saying is true. You know what I mean? Like they could just say, oh yeah, it's the carburetor. You know, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that I have one, but it's just like, and that's how I feel like a lot of people feel about words, you know, because you can't really function without words, you know, but a lot of people just don't, like, they'll use them, but they don't really use them right. And like I just said, right and not correctly. Anyway, yeah, this is one of those bits that is not fully worked out. So I've been doing some online dating, online dating on the internet, you know, on the computer, right? And I don't know. I don't think of myself as having really high standards, you know. I don't think that. But then, you know, I read these profiles, which, first of all, I read profiles. I feel like a lot of people don't read the little bio in the profile, you know, and they don't care about that. I'm very focused on that. I also think a lot of people don't read their own bio before posting. But I get real judgy, you know. I'll read, you know, this woman says like, I want to meet someone who piques my interest, PEEK, which, and if you're if you didn't know, PIQUE is how you spell that word. So I read that and I'm just like, I'm not gonna enjoy my time with this person, you know. I can't hang out with that. You know, I'm sure she's really nice, but then it turns out I've eliminated too many people with that high bar. So then I've got to bring it down a little bit. I'm like, all right, I just want to meet somebody who knows the difference between your and your. I don't feel like that is a high bar. I feel like native English speakers should master that by age 10, you know, but apparently no, too many people. I'm cutting out too many people. So now I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, I just want to meet a woman who understands that women is the plural of woman. I can't meet another strong, independent women. I can't, you know, call me old fashioned. I want to just meet one woman at a time. But I was in LA forever, and then went to I've been staying in Atlanta and Chicago, and noticed something in profiles in Atlanta that I never saw in LA. All these women who say, I'm a hardworking, God-fearing Christian woman. I want to meet a man who loves Jesus as much as I do. And when I see that in a dating profile, what I read is, no fucking Jews. Stay away from me, you dirty Jew. I'm a dirty Jew, by the way. That's an important part of the story. I should have mentioned that. Away with the heathen Semites. You will taste the fires of hell. Only a man of the Lord can enter my holy valley. Lo, I say unto thee, my sweet Christian flower can only be pollinated by New Testament jizz, is what I think when I read that. The fear of God is interesting to me, you know. That's really the only fear that people go around bragging about. You know, usually people don't announce their fears in public. But, people who fear God really want you to know. You know, which by the way, I believe in God, you know, for what it's worth, but I don't fear God, you know. That's just not how my concept of God works. So yeah, not a God-fearing person. I'd say I'm more of a shark-fearing person, you know, but I don't got to tell everybody, you know. Also, I don't worship sharks. So what would that look like? I guess if you worship shark, you know, wear like a shark tooth necklace, you know, and I guess church would be like you get in a group and watch Jaws every week. I guess the High Holy Days would be Shark Week. And the apocalypse would be Sharknado. This actually seems like a decent idea. Maybe I want to look into this whole shark worshiping thing. I feel like a lot of in the online dating profile, you kind of want to be sort of positive, you know. Not like everything's all sunshine and rainbows, but just kind of don't want to get too negative in the dating profile. And a lot of women do not share this view. Seen so many women, first words of the profile, no liars, no cheaters. And it's like, okay, someone's been hurt. I get it. You know, I don't know if that's like the first thing you want to lead with as we're meeting. Or no drama. I see that a lot. No drama. And when I read that in a profile, I'm not reading it as like, hey, I'm chill, no drama. I feel like this is a person that I'm going to have to prove drama is not occurring at some point. And you know who tend to be the most dramatic people? People who employ the word drama, I have found. You know, there's another thing. Let me just, I want to say before I mention this next thing, I'm not a dick pic person. All right. I have never sent nor even taken a dick portrait. So that's not my thing. It just isn't. But then a lot of women will put in their profile, no dick pics. And I get that. I understand you don't want to see a stranger's junk. Totally get that. I'm on board with that. But I feel like putting that in your profile is not going to get you fewer dick pics. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like if I can get into the sort of head of the dick pic guy, and again, that's not me. I'm not the dick pic guy. But I feel like that guy, when he sees that, I feel like he's thinking, oh, well, she hasn't seen mine. I really want to send a dick pic right now. Anyway, you see a lot of profiles and you kind of see patterns, you see the same things over and over again, you kind of decode what certain things mean. Like when a woman says in her profile, I'm a country girl, what that means is whites only. Pretty provably, I think. So many people are generic. Like, it's weird. People are writing something about them personally, but they're just so just basic and generic, I mean, I don't even mean basic like their interests are not exciting, but they're not saying anything. Well, like, okay, I've seen so many profiles where this woman says, like, I enjoy music and I love to laugh. Like, not I'm into metal or I like the Smiths and the Cure, but I enjoy music. Who the fuck doesn't enjoy music of some kind? And who doesn't love to laugh? If anybody does not enjoy music or love to laugh, they're not announcing it on the internet. You know what I mean? No one's saying, like, I appreciate misery and I enjoy silence. Okay. I do feel like the self-esteem revolution has somewhat overcorrected. See this in a lot of profiles where the woman will say, like, I'm a queen and I want to meet my king. Which would be fine if like a couple of people said that, but everybody's saying that now. We can't all be kings and queens. Do you know what I mean? Like, that just means every couple is just like a 2-person kingdom, like of no political significance. What are we doing here? It's like, I mean, who are your subjects? Your single friends? And like, what is, I mean, first of all, just overlooking the moral question involved with royalty, and what about gay couples? So you just have 2 kings or 2 queens. I just feel like that. Why are we calling it a kingdom now? What are we doing here? And what about non-binary people? Sorry, you're not invited to this party. You're not in the conversation. And what about the rest of the royal court? You know what I mean? Why do you got to be a king and a queen? How come nobody ever says, like, I want to meet my sexy earl? Or where's my alpha male viscount? Duchess. Nobody wants to be a duchess anymore? That's not good enough for you? All right. The name of that joke is, yes, noble woman. All right. If you need a fun thing to do, if you're gone on a lot of first dates, and something I like to do on a first date is go to couples counseling, because I want this to work. Can't you see I'm fighting for us, Amber? Sorry, Amanda. All right. Yeah, it's weird. People say like, oh, online dating is so weird. So weird. Like, if you have a kid, you'll have to explain, I swept on your mom. I've heard 1,000 comics do that joke. I don't think it's that weird, because more and more of our interactions are online these days, right? I think it's going to be way weirder in the future to explain having met in person. Seriously, I think there'll be a lot of conversations in the future that are like, Grandpa, how did you meet Grandma? Well, I had a job at Pizza Hut and she just came in and we struck up a conversation and went from there. You met IRL? Wasn't that scary? You didn't know what kind of books or movies she liked? You didn't read any inspirational quotes? You just met? that's how we used to do it, kid. And then, how did you say you met? Oh, I had a job at Pizza Hut. You know pizza, right? Yeah, I know pizza, but Grandpa, what is job? Oh, that's just something we used to have back before the world economy collapsed under the weight of capitalism. It was a long time ago, sweetie. It was a different world. Yeah, back then 110 degrees was considered hot, if you can believe that. Oh, what I wouldn't give for 110 degree weather. I miss going outside without a hazmat suit. Grandpa, you can't go outside without a hazmat suit. President Gaga says that's very dangerous. Oh no, I voted for President Gaga. You know, our president was the son of a very famous pop singer from when I was a young lad, but no, I trust the science and I trust President Jeff Gaga. All right, the only unrealistic part of that joke is that Lady Gaga would never name her son Jeff. But also in my future dystopian vision, they still won't let a woman become president. Okay. Let's see. I've been yeah, it's interesting. Well, okay, let me say this. Sexuality is kind of a spectrum, and I think of myself as pretty darn straight. That's how I've thought of myself for most of my life. But I started to watch this show, The Last of Us. Anybody seen that show? Brooke, have you seen that show? Are you still here?
I have
All
not.
right. Okay. Yeah, it's a great show. Season finale is coming up on Sunday on HBO. And, post-apocalyptic show. But there's this great love story in this show. These two guys, Bill and Frank. It's one of the best love stories ever in a TV show. And I don't know, it's had an impact on me, I will say. There's different levels, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that I would be prison gay, but I'm almost certain that I would be apocalypse gay.
Go.
If there's 10 people left in the world, I'm
Yeah.
probably going to end up with one of the first 2 or 3 people that I run into, And, if they can do gardening and kill some zombies, so what if they have a beard? What else do you want out of life? It's interesting, as a Jewish person, and kind of witnessing the sort of further spiral into madness of Kanye West, where he's he's not just out of his mind, but he's decided to specialize in anti-Semitism. Is it's been hard for me because it's the thing that's so upsetting about it is that Kanye West is really good at music. He is. He's put out some amazing music. What makes him good at hip hop is that he's an innovator. He doesn't just sample the same 5 James Brown tracks that every rapper uses. He'll sample a gospel tune or Nina Simone song or a King Crimson song, but when it comes to anti-Semitism, Kanye is just rocking the most whack played out beats of anti-Semitism. It's he's like the Vanilla Ice or Macklemore of anti-Semitism. It's he'll come out and he'll say Jews, control the media. And it's I've heard that 1,000 times. You know what I mean? Give me something new, give me something fresh. You know what I mean? Just I don't know, Jews have walrus DNA, or like Jews can't write cursive. You know, all Jewish women are secretly Asian. Something new, you know? Like if you can't drop some, you know, some fresh hate bars, you know, you better get out the game, son. That's all I'm saying. All right. I do want to mention something to any Christians out there who might be watching this. And this is something we Jews don't bring up a lot, but I just kind of want to get it off my chest. This is something that happened a long time ago, so I will say that. But you Christians kind of stole our book there. You kind of took our book and just shoved it on the beginning of yours. You didn't ask permission at all. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a pretty serious spiritual plagiarism, you know, and like we haven't seen a dime from any of those Bible sales. And, you know, I mean, that's the thing is I don't want to be a Jewish person and, you know, make it about the money because that just doesn't look good. But I'm just saying, you could have asked us, you know, maybe you should reread the front part of the book, our part of the book. You know, there's a thing about thou shalt not steal. You might want to reread that, you know. There's a lot of talk these days, especially online, people talking about this idea of billionaire pedophiles, you know, which I don't know. I mean, me personally, I try and support mom and pop pedophiles, you know. And everything's online these days, you know. Whatever happened to good old brick and mortar pedophilia? Huh? Okay. All right. Thinking about spirituality. I was thinking like what do you think is the coolest kind of spiritual designation? When I say coolest, what I mean is what group is the coolest with everybody else doing their thing? You know? Like not who's right, but who's okay with everybody else doing their thing, you know? So Christians are right off the list, you know. I mean, Christians might be right. They might have the correct idea of you know, of what God is, but they are not you know, loosey-goosey when it comes to other people's visions of spirituality. They're more horsey, I'd say. But yeah, you would think that atheists would be the coolest, right? They don't believe anything. What do they care, right? That would be if you'd never met an atheist in your whole life. Because yeah, it's weird how uptight atheists are. You know, it's like you would not think that there were evangelical atheists, but there are. You know, just you run into an atheist at a party, that's your whole night. You're going to hear a lot of facts and maybe even some opinions. But I think the coolest group in this way has got to be agnostics, right? You know, I mean, not knowing is in their name, right? So I can't imagine what an evangelical agnostic would be. You know, like how would an agnostic get in your face about God? You know, just like, yeah, you know, the real truth about God is, I don't know. You're probably right. Who knows, really? All right. Where am I time-wise, Gio?
You're good if you want to stop, but you're welcome to keep going.
I'm at 30 already?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
Wow.
you're like 25 seconds away.
Geez. Okay. Well, All right. Yeah, I'll say a couple more things. Yeah, yeah. There's some tough stuff I want to talk about. There's a, there's a lot of people are talking about the need for police reform, but I feel like the messaging has been off. Some people talk about the idea of defunding the police, which I think kind of misses the point. I think it's more about disarming the police, because a lot of police personnel have shown that they cannot be responsible with firearms, and I'm not proposing that we disarm the police entirely, but like, I don't know, maybe they don't all need guns, maybe you don't need a gun for a tail light situation. I don't know, just a thought. I don't know if anybody's been murdered because of their tail light was out. Spoiler alert, they have. But they should be limited, like every police precinct should just have 3 guns. Then they'll only use it when they really need it, So cop comes into the station house and he's like, all right, let me get gun A. And they're like, oh, sorry, Eddie's got that. All right, gun B, Marty. Gun C, it's in the shop. It'll be back next week. Maybe you'll just have to talk to him. Talk to him? That's not why I got into this business. All right. That's my wacky cop who likes to shoot people character I'm working on. I don't know. It's weird being a white person and wanting to do something about white supremacy. It's not actually weird, but it feels weird, but it's not. It is actually up to white people, more than non-white people, to do something about white supremacy. Which, by the way, I didn't just discover white supremacy. I'm not like, guys, there's this new thing. You got to check it out. It's really bad. White supremacy has been with us since, before the founding of this country, but it's gotten worse and more blatant. And I just feel like I got to do something, they've got, members of the Proud Boys and what's the other one? Other groups like that. The Proud Boys are have been designated as a hate group, if you didn't know. And there have been, some of their guys are being prosecuted for their part in the January 6th attack on the Capitol. And anyway, I just feel like I got to do something. So there's something that white supremacists will use this phrase, white pride, to kind of sanitize what they're about, just like, well, what's wrong with being proud, but obviously there's, something darker happening. And so I've decided, and I guess this is as good as place as any to announce it. I'm starting the white shame movement. And yeah, too many white people have been too okay for too long. And we have got to be stopped. And to counteract the Proud Boys, I'm starting a love group. We're calling ourselves the Ashamed Lads. And so working on the GoFundMe now. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'm also a feminist, which is, I don't think that's that big a deal. To me, there's different, sort of definitions. I think being a feminist just means, you think half the population should be treated equally and get the same pay and have the same control over their bodies, not that high a bar. But you talk about being a feminist, and some women will be like, whoa, hold on, that's going a bit far, It's like, we barely had the vote for 100 years. Let's not go crazy with all these rights. I'm just saying feminism, it's not just for men. But before I go, I'd like to talk about bitches real quick. Let me just say, I don't use that word a lot. I don't just call women that willy-nilly, you know, but I'm not somebody who doesn't believe that bitches exist, you know, but they've got to earn it, you know. For me to call someone a bitch, they've got to do some like actual bitch things, you know. It's a lot of guys will just refer to women generically as bitches, and I just don't get it, you know. Talk to some friend and he'll say, yeah, I forgot my wallet at home, so this bitch from work helped me out, gave me a couple bucks. I'm like, what? She's the nice person in that story. What, how did, you know, or talk to another guy friend, he's like, yeah, a lot of bitches in the club tonight. And it's like, all right, so there's a group of people that it would seem you don't like, and yet you're glad they're here. Please explain. Show your work. Yeah, no, for me to call a woman a bitch, she's got to be a real cunt. You know, just like Susan Collins type level. All right. Okay, two more things real quick. Do you guys remember this thing with Twinkies a while ago? Where they were gonna stop making Twinkies. Does anyone remember this? It was maybe 12 years ago. Hostess came out and said, we're done making Twinkies, there's no more Twinkies. Right. The reason I ask if anybody remembers this is because this could be confusing, because there are Twinkies now, but at some point Hostess said there's no more Twinkies, and then a bunch of people just freaked out and went and stocked up on all the Twinkies they could, which you can do with Twinkies because they keep for a crazy long time, right? And so there was a period of about a year and a half or so where you couldn't get Twinkies except for like from those people. But they brought them back, right? I guess there was some kind of clamor in the snack cake community. So they brought them back. I missed those protests. I don't know what were they yelling at those demonstrations? Just like white filling matters, you know, something like that. But yeah, so they brought them back so you can get Twinkies again. Anyways, I was thinking about this recently because I think we're about to experience that same thing in this country with abortions. So get them while they're hot. Offer varies by state, but you know, I don't know how you stock up on abortions. I guess you could maybe, you know, buy some cases of the morning after pill, but those don't keep as long as Twinkies, right? No way. So, but they'll bring them back. They'll bring them back. You know, if you think about Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch's ages, 25, 30 years, they'll bring them back. Maybe during the Gaga administration. Yeah, it seems pretty clear that I mean, there's a lot of talk about what you know, what civil rights everyone has and what freedom means, and I think we can all agree that vagina owners clearly have fewer rights than gun owners in this country. I'm not making that up, right? I mean, you know, which I gotta say, not a fan. I'm a staunch supporter of vagina owners over gun owners. And vaginas over guns while we're at it. You know, they're just responsible for so much more pleasure. And statistically, everyone on this Zoom, if you're not a test tube baby. But, and I'm not saying there aren't dangerous vaginas out there. There are, you know, but a vagina can only ruin one life at a time. You know, maybe two in a very specific situation. But, you know, there just aren't vaginas that are designed to fuck up 100 people at once. Not so with guns. But I think I've got a good solution. We've got some VOs here tonight. If you VOs can figure out a way to somehow surgically implant a gun down there, boom, you got a whole bunch of new rights, right? Congratulations, you're a gun owner. You're like a real citizen now. I'm sorry, boom probably isn't the right word to use there. You don't want that thing going off. But, you know, and I don't know how you do that. You know, I'm not a vagina gun scientist or gynecologist, I guess you'd call it. But, you know, I think it would help cut down on sexual assault a fair amount, you know? You put your hand down there when it's not wanted, you could lose a hand, son. You just got finger banged. By which I mean you've lost several of your fingers to a pussy Uzi. Which is very different from an Uzi pussy. That's an entirely different device. All right, thanks, good night.
Go for Josh. You know, Josh, you make a big deal about the Catholics stealing the first, your book, but nobody says anything about them stealing, the star player.
Oh yeah,
Michael Jordan used to be on your team,
right. He was actually on our B team, so it's
yeah. That's why he
Yeah.
jumped ship. Got much more playtime.
Yep.
Sitting there, I will have to admit though, the space lasers was a new twist for the anti-Semitism.
right. Yeah.
Debbie was a little late. She had some technical problems, but our next comedian is here. She's going to close out our show for us. Debbie actually was on Jimmy Fallon show, and I've seen pictures on her Facebook page with Jimmy. It must have been very exciting. So please, everybody, big round of applause. Debbie Breslin.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very exciting. It was very unexpected. My friends had given me the information. She said they were looking for grandmothers that did comedy. And I submitted. And when they called and said they were the Tonight Show, I almost fell through the floor. So that was a very fun time. My friend always says, Bruce, even a blind squirrel gets a nut now and then. So, yeah, it was scary. It was very scary. And I remember when I was by the curtain, I said, oh boy, I got to do this. But I'm glad I prayed up and I did what I had to do. And, it's like you polish here and you shine there. And, I've been doing comedy for a while. So, this is ink. I don't know. I can't find my other glasses. I was able to do it. They changed it around too a little bit. They changed the comedy around a little. I think it slowed me down because I tend to talk fast sometimes. I think that was from childhood. Nobody listened anyway. I did a show today at a senior center, and I usually am very mild. I don't want to offend anyone, And when I got there, they said, "Oh, they like it raw." I said, "Really?" And then the assistant director said, "Oh yeah," she says, "they like cursing and everything." So I started to talk, and I could see they were like bored, and then I had to throw out an F-bomb and they were happy. They were happy. I was very unexpected, no microphone, so that was fun. But yeah, I know someone was talking about dating. I've been dating on dating sites, and I find like the men, they want my number and they ask for my number, but then they don't call. They'll say, well, when's a good time to call? And I say after 6, and I start worrying, like, are they in jail? They're looking for a pen pal. Do they only have one phone call a day to make? I just don't understand. I've been married 3 times. Back in the day, men took you out for a cheeseburger on Friday. Saturday night, you went to the movies. You were in a relationship. Now everything is so stretched out, I'm married 30 years. It took 3 husbands, but it's still 30 years. People ask me, how do you get married? Yeah, how'd you get married so many times? I settled. And I just shut up until I got him down the aisle. Then it's like you're in the union, say whatever you want. My two kids were engaged last year this time, my daughters, but neither one of them got married because they couldn't shut the fuck up. You know, I tell women too, I still think an engagement is a commitment. To a man, it's a trial period. But yeah, so I'm having fun. I'm having fun. I dated a little bit. I met a few nice people. I weren't that nice, but they were okay. Yeah, they all want to know, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? You know what I'm looking for? To go out for a cup of coffee. That's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that could drive at night. I'm not looking for much. You know, when you're young, you want some beer and, you know, with a good job. And now you don't even care, you know? And we lost, and you know, it's not as easy as it used to be. We lost a lot of good men. A lot of men like men now, you know. Other one are wearing dresses. I mean, the pickings aren't as good as they were, you know. And then men die earlier. They die earlier than the women. And that's why sometimes you see two old ladies walking arm in arm. One could see and one could hear. The husbands are long gone, and you know, they just do what they got to do. Life goes on. Life goes on. I had a husband that died, and yeah, I still miss him very much. And then my kids were very upset. They were very upset when I started dating shortly after he died. And you know, I mean, I was a young woman. I had young kids, and well, they weren't that young, but they were young enough. And I wasn't ready to just, you know, go to like some of the women I knew, one God, one husband, you know, that wasn't for me. My daughter, she meant well. For my birthday, she bought me this beautiful pendant. It was a picture of both of us, you know, and it was huge. I mean, it was nice, and I enjoyed wearing it a little bit, but I knew it wasn't something I could wear when I was going on dates. She would have been better off getting me a pair of hoop earrings. I would have enjoyed that more. So I'm glad this lady's here. At least I have somebody to look at, because yeah. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. So you never know. You never know what it's going to be, right? You do a senior show and they want cursing and sex talk, and then you do a show. I thought the show was 10, and I came on late, and I'm sorry I missed the other comics. I did see one comic. You know, he did a pretty long set. I have children. They're doing very well. You know, one of them is doing fantastic. She's doing comedy all over the place, you know, and I'm going for surgery. I'm going for surgery in April. And, you know, growing up, I don't know if there's any parents here, but, you know, I always heard, you know, be a mother, have children, it's the most rewarding job. You know, you'll always have someone in your old age. What a crock of shit that was. I have to go to rehab for a week because that's just too busy to take care of me. And I, you know, when I was telling my friend, she felt bad for me. I said, "Don't feel bad." I said, "I'm looking forward to it. I bought pajamas and everything. I'm starting to pack. I'm thinking of it like I'm going away for a week. You know, you never know who you can meet there, right? Maybe I'll meet somebody else and Pete's eat together." But yeah, so yeah, that was a great experience. That really was. But you never know. You never know. That's what it is. You know, I was feeling I was seeing someone, and then, you know, I broke up with him, and I was feeling a little lonely and sad. And I realized it wasn't even him. It was that I wasn't really getting out doing comedy as much. So now I've been pushing myself a little bit, and I feel better, because there's just something about being with the other comics on Zoom or in comedy, you know, in shows. It's just, I love the energy. A lot of my friends are retiring, and I'm first getting this career that I love. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not always so easy. You know, it's not. You never know what kind of audience you have. Monday, you know, today was a senior place, and Monday is going to be a bar out in Long Island. So I'm looking forward to. I'm going to go with my friends. I'm going to meet him. We're going to go over together. And that's it too. I find with comedy, it's good to have like buddies, you know, because it could be a little rough. You know, it could be a little rough. Not everyone is so friendly, or, you know, sometimes clicky, like mics. I'm glad I don't do the mics anymore. But, you know, those mics, usually the kids would like be with the kids, and a lot of them were funny. And yet when you put them on a show, they weren't as funny. They got scared. Me, I do better with an audience. You wouldn't know it tonight, but give me an audience that I come alive. My parents were, much older than me. So, I was always afraid because my mother would say, oh, she had me late in life. I was always afraid, where was I going to go if my mother died? So then, she would say, well, you go with your father. I said, what about if he died? And then she said, my aunt, my sister. And then when she would say my Aunt V, I was happy because I always wanted to be in my Aunt V's house. They ate, you don't know. I used to be a fat kid and I just love to eat. And my mother used to try to limit my food. And, but Aunt V, she gave these big, huge portions. Like she would start cooking for the holidays like 2-3 days ahead of time. And I love going there until my mother started saying, Deborah will do the dishes. And then when she started doing that, I didn't enjoy it as much. I had a 1-day surgery in December. I don't know if anybody has had a 1-day surgery. They should really call it what it is. It's get in and get out. It's like a drive-through. They brought me to the pre-op. They made me walk to the surgery room and the operating room. I said, does anyone know I have a bad knee? I remember they testing me. And you get there, they asked me what music I liked. And I told them I only heard one line about the music. But I did start off with a prayer. And I just wanted to pray for the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, and of course the nurses that, my knee would be repaired and I'd be able to go dancing and maybe meet my 4th husband. So, but then now I got to go for something else. My cat's here now. But I woke up with this noise and the nurse saying, breathe, Deborah, breathe. And like, I think she was shaking the bed and she was trying to, and then they come in, the nurses one at a time. One is telling me about my discharge papers. The next one's telling me about medication. I can't even keep my eyes open. I'm all drugged up. And I said, someone going to give me paperwork to go home with? And then she was like pushing me. And I said, I feel like I'm in a restaurant and you need the table. You need the bed? She, we do. They just push. And finally, I just got out, I don't know if anybody's been in the hospital. You want to leave just so you could get some rest because they don't let you rest. They're either pushing carts or giving you, they wake you up. They wake you up and then they give you a sleeping pill. I mean, I know this is not new stuff, but this is what happened to me. So, I was glad to be home. I really was. It was a little hard. A neighbor helped me walk up the stairs, but that was good. And I think that's enough for me for tonight with my stained glasses with this ink on it. I didn't realize how bad it looks on the camera. And again, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much. I don't know if there's anybody else coming on, if I was after the headliner.
You'll be closing us up for the night.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Please let's keep it going.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming. It was a little different order tonight, but it worked. Our next show will be in 2 weeks. So please, if you're looking for something to do that Friday, please come back. If you enjoyed yourself, please spread the word. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Button Down Comedy. And if you really enjoyed it and you want to show the comedians, we have set up 2 ways to donate. You can go to paypal.me/BD Comedy or Cash App $ Button Down Comedy. Whatever you send will get split between the comedians. So please, if you want to show them how much you enjoyed the time, please do that. Other than that, please, everybody, get home safe.
Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Gio. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Brooke.
Okay.